Right.
It goes beyond 96.
It's the Second Avenue line in conjunction.
One of the things you can do is get people, get officers or law enforcement. The Second Avenue bus is amazing. I call it the speed bus. It's fantastic. And what you need to do is get trucks out of that lane so that the poor bus driver can speed down.
Out of the express bus lane.
And he's not able to.
Okay.
One day I spent an hour on the bus because he just couldn't get past. I mean,
Okay.
it's an amazing bus. I love it. It's
I'm-
from stop to the next speed
I'm,
stops. And
I'm happy to hear that the bus, when it's not obstructed, runs, and that's something that certainly should
But
get the trucks out. Okay.
Get everybody out of his way. They'll have to find someplace else to deliver their goods, so to speak.
Absolutely.
5 o'clock in the morning and deliver it.
Okay.
So we have about 7 minutes before the walk is going to start. We do First Fridays at my office every month from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. You're welcome to join us. We have a policy committee night on the second Tuesday of every month from, Paul, at 6:30 to 8:30? Yeah. Yes, 6:30 to 8:30, so that if you're interested in taking some of these issues further and helping us push the agenda. So I'm going to try to get through as many questions as I can. So I'm going to try to limit it to just things that require the NYPD, DOT, and MTA that are focused on the Second Avenue subway safety. So there's still a lot of hands, so we're going to try to keep it pretty quick. So if the gentleman near the first column could give his question.
Yeah, it's really an NYPD issue. Bicycles, commercial delivery bikes on the sidewalk are a problem all over, but particularly when the Second Avenue subway construction occupies 2 or 3 lanes, the full length of a block, and the perfect example is across the street. Guys who are doing the deliveries don't want to ride all the way around, and they're on the sidewalk. We don't have legal authority to really deal with them properly. It's not a printable offense. If they see a uniform out there, they're not going to be there. If you could put a plainclothes person out occasionally in the evening, 7, 8 o'clock, after dark, on a block like that, just to see what's going on. So I wish you could boot the bikes. Just chain them to the fence. That's enough of a penalty to make an impact. We don't have, council's got to give you some more authority.
Well, I will work on it, and if people can please pose questions. Sir in the front.
Hi, I'm Joe Puglisi. Thanks for having the meeting. Nice to meet you. I've dealt with your office recently on a few affairs, and nice to meet the new commander, second in command at the precinct, and everybody. I'm not going to waste everybody's time, but I put this together, and this was just an hour today walking on 72nd Street and 73rd. This is a very big, dangerous thing. I want you to take this and keep it and make copies and give it to everybody here because it pertains to DOT, PD, traffic, transit. And this is us walking in the street because there was only one officer in the intersection and there were school kids and we were forced to go into oncoming traffic, but also big potholes, lighting issues, and that whole thing. I'd like you to make copies and distribute it. So I appreciate this meeting.
Thank you very much. This is exactly the spirit. We want to empower you. By the second column.
I have a question about the actual beginning and start time when these loud trucks are allowed to operate. I live on 96 between 1st and 2nd, and sometimes at 11:30 at night, there are these loud, obnoxious, engine idling trucks that just kind of stop there and do work. I look at my window and it's one of the construction trucks.
Where exactly is this? Because we only are operating from 7 a.m. till 10 p.m. So
10 p.m.?
10 p.m. correct. So I'm just curious as to where that is, and if in fact it is us, because there's a lot of other work going on around the city. It could be Con Ed, it could be someone else.
They work for you.
Okay.
It's called E-Tully Construction.
Yeah.
Right. So sometimes at 11:30 at night, and there's that backup noise, that like loud beeping sound. And this is like even on Sunday nights.
Right.
And it's just.
Well, Dennis Tierney is your liaison for that 96th Street area, and I am head of the entire program. So if you reach out to either one of us and let us know where exactly it's happening, or send us a photo of what's happening, this way here we can follow up. I mean, I can't do anything about it right now until I see the offense, that's all.
Okay, I took pictures as well.
Okay.
And just for everybody, when you see something that you think might be wrong, the best thing you can do is call 311, get the complaint number, then call my office with that information so that we can follow up directly on it. By the second column, you've been patient?
Are you referring to me?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. My question was answered with regard to the air quality. My other concern is, when is the work going to be completed above ground? And are there any budget overruns as of this month?
The first part of that's easy. The work will be completed, it depends on which area, but all work will be completed by approximately the middle of 16, because we need time to run the trains, test the trains before we start revenue service with passengers. So theoretically, in the 90s, all the work on the street surface should be completed by mid-year in 2016.
So what about the budget overrun?
Our project right now is currently on time and on budget. We have a certain contingency we play with, we have a certain schedule and cost contingency, and with all of that, we're still within what we anticipated being way back when.
So I'm going to do the last two questions. So to the person, so I'm going to take two more questions, and then just something so you know, we're committed to transparency, so we try to get everything videoed. And I didn't announce that at the beginning of this, so Sarah Andrews, my communications director, is going to raise her hand, and if you did not feel comfortable having your voice recorded, just let us know and we'll do our best to try to edit you out, and we're going to do our best to try to post these online for people. So to the person in the purple shirt.
Hi, my question is about ADA accessibility and the quality of the cleanliness of the elevators that we'll have on the queue line. I understand that ties into bars.
Sure, I'm not sure, I mean, will the stations be ADA accessible? Yes,
Yes.
absolutely. There'll be elevators at every one of the stations. And then as far as cleanliness, I mean, that's more after the fact, that's a transit question. I mean, we won't maintain the stations after we're done, we're just building them. So, you know, we would have to pose that to transit.
That's a very big thing.
Yep.
Because most of those elevators are filthy. Number two, at the new stations, will you have a way that the individual will know what's at the other end? Most people know if there's an elevator or not, but if that elevator will be working. Again, ADA accessibility. It's probably the DOT, MTA.
Everybody's here, so we can get your question answered. It's just a question of whether or not they, so the question is whether or not there will be signs to notify people that the elevator isn't working when they get off at the station. And so that sounds like
A system issue, really.
We can't answer, but we'll try to get that information and get it back.
so.
It makes a lot of importance for us, and we don't have, most of us don't have those little gadgets that you can figure out that information.
So,
we would appreciate it.
Please contact my office. We'll make sure that you get that information and that the transit knows about it. Roosevelt Island has an elevator, and between the elevator and the escalators, that's something that is actually something we should be looking into. So thank you for bringing it up. And our last question up front.
Well, hi. This is for New York Police Department. I've called several times, and I think, were you going over the, just a question, when we find these trucks that are parked in the wrong place, it just seems awkward to call the precinct to say, hey, can you come and give somebody a ticket over here or move this truck? But is that what we should do? Because I've called the 19th precinct a couple of times over the weekend about a commercial truck that keeps parking in a no standing area, and it happens a lot. It's, you know, I guess you can look at it as lost revenue to the city. But again, I don't want to take you away from, you know, more important crime stopping, but it seems like that's the best place to call, so I don't know what to do.
Calling the precinct desk is fine. You know, if there's not an emergency or that sector is tied up on something else that someone's, you know, immediate safety, we'll certainly go out and take a look at a truck issue. If it's, you know, if it's more of an ongoing thing, which maybe this is, there's different avenues, there's 311. But yeah, you're welcome to call the police precinct. Our officers are instructed to answer the phone courteously and pay attention to what's going on and get the call dispatched out. So, you know, you do have that option. I wouldn't dial 911.
No, never dial 911, but how do you follow up? Because when I called and I asked if there was any kind of number I could leave, because in this one particular instance, the truck was there for 24 hours.
Direct?
Right, well, no, that I could call back the precinct and say, did you dispatch somebody?
We do track the calls, you know, we do track the incoming calls that don't come over 911. And if, you know, if we went up there and we saw a violation and it was issued a summons, or it wasn't issued a summons and we had an interaction with the driver, that's, you know, gets a quote-unquote disposition code, a number that says what happened. We do track all that. There should be no reason that you wouldn't get that information back.
Okay.
You know, sometimes we may take a little longer than the public thinks is correct, but it's based on priority and 911 emergency. You're more than welcome to call the command. Just not 911. I know I say that, but I emphasize that because sometimes we do get those calls. The 911 dispatchers will route it out other way.
So that ends the Q&A portion. So I'd like to split everyone into three groups. So over there is my Chief of Staff, Jesse. And so he's going to be walking on the west side of 2nd Avenue going south. So if you want to walk on the west side of the street, please go to his side of the room. I'm going to be on the east side of the street, and if you want to join me, please walk over to Joe. Joe's going to put his hand up. And if you have some community concerns that you didn't get to voice already, Debbie, if you can come out and wave to everybody. That's Debbie. She's our Director of Constituent Service, and she can address your issues. And if you just came to learn and to hear or to present stuff, and you don't want to join us on the walk, that's fine. But thank you all for joining us. I want to thank our participants, and if we can all give them a round of applause.